All right, guys, we are here today. Start a little bit later. We got CB consumer confidence data today, so it drops at 10 a.m. And so we're starting the stream up a little bit later because we can. And yeah, we'll see if we get anything good today. Get ready to day trade the opening bell here, and then we'll try to do some other stuff. What's up, Fares? 75 cap. Get this up. All right, guys. What's up, Beach Trading? Bob, 75, Gunny, Cap, Fares. What's up, team? Yeah, today we got CB consumer. All right, guys. We got CB consumer confidence data. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting all this stuff ready. Gotta exit out of some of this stuff. Market looks slightly green. We actually had a slightly red day yesterday. A lot of the market is seeing if the green week is going to continue. You know, if we get another green week this week, that'll be the 5th green week in a row. So that'll be interesting to see if we do or not. That's what a lot of the market is waiting on. Again, vote on the poll. Hit the like button if you can too. Bump those numbers up. We appreciate it. All right. Yeah, if we zoom in here, let me get the E-mini fixed. Oh. All right. Yeah, you can see kind of the E-mini down a little bit this morning, but it's not down like a lot. It's just down a little bit. Amazon peeling back a little bit after breaking highs over and over again yesterday morning. Yeah, we appreciate the love. We're going to day trade at the open. Again, we're going to keep it a little bit more short than we normally do because we just don't have much going on right now. This is the quiet period of the market, to be honest, where, I mean, we got some earnings that came out today. Post some of these earnings. All right, so we had PDD earnings, BNS. What do we have for earnings yesterday? UXIN. Earnings season's coming to an end. Hey, all good, Gunny. Can you explain the gray and black bars? What do you mean? In what timeline? Kelly, I'd like to learn how to trade. Do you have a class I could take? I mean, we have a bunch of free content. We don't really sell a course myself or anything like that, but we've got a bunch of free content. Just check out our YouTube page. All right, guys. So again, we got to just to break down the rest of the week. Today we got CB Consumer Confidence at 10 a.m. You know, I'm drinking regular coffee aside from espresso. But yeah, today we got CB Consumer Confidence at 10. Tomorrow, what the heck? I'm sorry. It's supposed to be instrumentals. For whatever reason, it wasn't. But there we go. But yeah, so again, today we have CB Consumer Confidence data at 10. Tomorrow we have GDP data, and I think we got maybe one other release, but I think mostly tomorrow's GDP data and a bunch of Fed speakers. Or no, today's the Fed speakers. Today we got Bowman, Austin Goolsbee, Christopher Wallen, CB Consumer Confidence, and the Case-Shiller House Price Index dropping at 9 a.m. So we got a bunch of stuff really coming out today. Case-Shiller's pretty insignificant, but CB Consumer Confidence is pretty big. It's not super big, but yeah, it's relevant. Tomorrow we have GDP data dropping at 8:30. That's pretty big. We got advanced U.S. trades and goods. We got some Fed members speaking tomorrow, like Tom Barkin appearing on TV tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then Thursday we've got the big one, probably the biggest one of the week. There's two big ones this week. There's PCE data. So there's PCE data, which is dropping on Thursday. PCE is the Fed's preferred inflation metric, right? So like when you hear inflation metrics like CPI, PPI, those are important. But what the Fed actually gauges it with is PCE, which is the abbreviation stands for the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. So PCE is what it's called. It drops at 8:30 on Thursday, November 30th. Expectations for that are 0.2%. 0.2%. Last time it came in at 0.3%, so they're expecting it to drop on a month-to-month basis at 0.1%. 0.1%. We also have pending home sales tomorrow at 10. But yeah, Thursday, jobless claims numbers, which is unemployment filings, 220,000 expected. Last time it came in at 209. I think that's right. Yeah, so last time it came in at 209. This time they're expecting 220, so they're expecting a bump up in jobless claims numbers, which again, I think is probably going to cause a boost in markets. But again, we'll cover that tomorrow. And then Friday is a very busy day. Friday is actually the busiest day of the week. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Friday is not the busiest day of the week. It's mixed, but Friday we have Jerome Powell at 11 a.m. Prior to that, we have ISM manufacturing PMI data. So ISM manufacturing at 10, Powell at 11. And so we're just going to stream all of that. We're probably not going to stop streaming. And then, yeah, next week we got some stuff too. We got ISM services PMI on Tuesday, ADP non-farm employment change on Wednesday with non-farm productivity, jobless claims on Thursday. Friday we've got, okay, so yeah, this week's busy, but next week. Okay, so yeah, next week we have ADP non-farm employment change on Wednesday, jobless claims Thursday. Friday we have payroll numbers, because Wednesday we get the prelim numbers, and then Friday we have unemployment numbers. So next week's busy too. So yeah, next couple weeks are going to be busy. We also have GameStop and C3 AI earnings next week. that might influence AI and tech and all that good stuff. Market's pretty quiet right now. I mean, I see Amazon dipping down, Apple dipping down. You can see the E-mini S&P 500 gapping down a little bit. I can see a little bit of a trend here, but who knows if it's going to actually follow this trend right now. But we can kind of see that here. Let's see if we hold. Let's put it up 42 like that. And then maybe like this. I think this angle's a little bit too much. There we go. That looks pretty good. So yeah, we're kind of watching this little mini trend on the E-mini, but it pretty light volume right now, I would say, in the morning. Yeah, so GDP tomorrow is pretty big. Oh, you're talking about... Yeah, I mean, as somebody already said, the gray area here is extended hours trading. So it's pre-market and after hours. The darker area here is just regular market hours. So this is from 9:30 to 4. This is from 4 to 9:30. You know, so lighter, though the easier way to remember it is typically this is at extended hours trading. The gray on the chart is extended hours trading. The dark part of the chart is when the market's actually open. I mean, the market's open in both, but like in the gray area here, as an example, in stocks, you can only use limit orders. You can't market in and out. That curbs the liquidity heavily when it happens, and so you're not able to actually like trade a lot in pre-market. A lot of the time, companies release earnings in pre-market, as well as like they will drop different metrics and stuff like that in pre-market as well. They choose to do it then because it will have a less of a market impact. All right, so the SEC is trying to prove that Binance and founder CZ committed an FTX style fraud, according to Wall Street Journal. The 5 cities in the U.S. with the highest murder rate are St. Louis, Baltimore, New Orleans, Detroit, and Cleveland. I didn't know New Orleans was above Detroit, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. New Orleans is listen, I love New Orleans, but I don't go there very much because it's just not. I mean, I used to like where I was born an hour away from New Orleans, a little bit less than an hour actually. It's like 45 minutes. And so I've been to New Orleans. I've been to Bourbon Street. I've had fun. It's a tough place, bro. It's a sketchy place to go. There's a lot of crime. You know, and I love it. It's got great food. It's a, great culture, to be honest. But, I don't necessarily want to live there. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's not really a uncommon conclusion for a lot of people from Louisiana. I'm just surprised it's so high up. I know it was the murder capital for a while. Now it's number 3. Baltimore is actually higher, and St. Louis is the highest. Interesting. Didn't know that. Again, the S&P 500 is still breaking down some here. Still breaking. What's up, Sam? Boeing, Chainlink, good news. New Orleans has got great culture. The problem is it's overpopulated. Like, there's too many people there, right? And when there's too many people there, like, crime thrives anytime that happens, right? And if there's too many people in a small area, you know, it's inevitable that crime is going to rise. That's really the problem of it, you know. Amazon at 147th. Yeah, so again, the Cybertruck. Oh, man, I forgot, dude. So, man, we're going to be really busy this week, guys. So, again, today, we're going to be day trading here. I'm going to start buying this dip a little bit. We're going to buy one contract at the regular E-mini, see if we catch a little bounce play. And then we're probably going to start trend trading after this. But Thursday, we have the delivery event for Tesla. So, Thursday, we have Tesla's delivery event as well. I completely forgot about that, too. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy time. We Wednesday we've got GDP first revision. Thursday we've got jobless claims numbers, PCE data, and the Tesla delivery event. Friday we've got manufacturing PMI data, and then Jerome Powell at 11. So a very busy day all around. Now we got one contract, but this has to be a longer term trade if we're going to take it. You know, I'm seeing this car dealership guy post this, and honestly, I absolutely agree with him. If I didn't know better, I would think he stole this idea from me, although it's not like a super unique idea. But like I've said this before, he said, and I'm going to quote this guy here, he's car dealership guy, he posts about cars. I'm going to quote this here. He says, Cybertruck is going to do massive numbers, not because it's Tesla, not because it's an EV, definitely not because the people's love for Elon, but because it's different and people want different. In fact, the product itself is probably going to suck in many ways. Why? Because it's a first generation product, and 99% of first gen products suck. Remember the first iPhone, it sucked. The third iPhone also sucked. All of that doesn't matter. People want different, and the Cybertruck is different. Right, 100%. End quote. That's end quoting here from car dealership guy on Twitter. But I agree with them, and I agree with them for this specific reason. And again, I think like a lot of the time people hear me say this and they think like I automatically like root super hard for the right, or you know, and they might hear me say other stuff and think I root super hard for the left. I don't care about politics at all, like at all. I like Teslas though. I think Teslas are cool, you know, and maybe I'm wrong. Like I haven't actually ever driven one, so maybe when I get one eventually, maybe that'll change. I've heard people say they aren't built very well, and so let me know if you guys think that's true. But I think the Cybertruck is going to do well, mainly because of this, right? And I've said this a bunch of times before, because it looks different. Like when Teslas first came out, like the new Teslas, not the old Roadster, but like the new Teslas, when they first came out, you know, you would look at it and be like, ooh, look, a Tesla. You know, it was different. It was new. It was unique. It was a status symbol, and it turned heads, right, when Teslas first came out. Now, at least in my area, bro, I can't go outside without seeing like 3 different Teslas driving around. Like they're freaking everywhere now. Like they're saturated to a certain extent as well. And I think that's not good for Tesla, obviously. You don't want it to be super saturated. It's good in that they're selling vehicles, but the other aspect of that is like they at this point in time, they're less unique when you see them. Like you're not like, ooh, look at Tesla. It's like, okay, another Tesla. which makes me want to get one less, you know. But I think the Cybertruck, regardless of people who think it's ugly, you hear a lot of people that are like, ooh, it's ugly. My wife thinks it's ugly, right? But regardless of that, it's going to turn heads. It's going to be different. It looks different. It runs differently. And I think that's a huge part of why people are going to buy it. You know, I think people are going to buy it just because it's going to turn heads. Like when you see a Cybertruck on the street, it's going to turn heads, and that's going to make people buy it. I think it's going to break sales records. Maybe it doesn't, though. Again, we'll see what happens. The margins on it apparently are not that good, according to Elon, and so that'll be an interesting thing to watch as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I like supers. I like the old supers, though. I grew up in like the Fast and Furious age, where like the orange Supra from the Fast and Furious was like my favorite car growing up. Yeah, Joe, man, it seems like you just want to fight, Joe. I'm gonna put you in timeout, brother. I if I'm like, hey, this guy obviously didn't steal from me, you know, he just has the same conclusion. This guy's much larger than me. I was very self-evident about that, very obvious. So just trying to start a fight over that, it seems desperate, man. So, you got to drive a Tesla. I'm a BMW guy, but my next car will be a Tesla. Totally different experience. Yeah, I like Teslas, even though I've never actually like had one, because they're fast, right? I was telling my wife, even the Model 3, like we just got, I'm not going to say what we got here. Again, I'm not trying to brag or whatever. We just got a twin turbo V8 car. I'm not going to say what it is, right? And this twin turbo V8 car runs like 11 and a half seconds, maybe like 12-second quarter mile, which is, again, people that don't understand cars might not understand what's impressive about that. You know, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. It looks like we're breaking down a little bit too much, but people who don't understand cars might not understand how impressive that is. They might not understand how impressive that is. Nope, it's not that gunny. But that's incredibly fast, right? But the reason I like Teslas is because even just the Model 3 runs at 11.3 quarter mile. So even just the Model 3, which is like the base sedan Tesla, let me see what it runs. Okay, that's the Highland. Yeah, just the Model 3 runs 11 and a half seconds. So it's actually a little bit faster than this twin turbo V8 car we had. So just the base Tesla Model 3 sedan is faster, quarter mile and 0 to 60 than the car we just got, which is like essentially like a race car. And so it's very crazy how fast these things can be. That's what makes me like them a lot. But again, I've never actually driven one. Yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody about the car. Again, I'm excited about it, so I mention it. But the point in all of it is Teslas are quick, you know, and they drive themselves to a certain extent, which is really cool. But yeah, maybe my tune will change when I actually get one. I don't know. You know, that's possible. All right, so Apple's still breaking down again. Amazon's still up there though, which is how does it handle on ice and snow? I have no idea. Again, I've never had one. To be honest, we don't really have any room for it over at my house. Like I would have got one already, but like we don't really have the room for it anymore. Like we can't fit all that in my driveway. Yeah, people are weird, bro. People are weird. Like, I don't even use my Discord anymore. Like, I haven't promoted my Discord or tried to grow my Discord. Again, it's too much to manage. You got too many bots and spammers. Like, you got too many people that are like, if you keep the voice chat up, you got too many people that'll just try to like shill some weird stuff to everybody when you're not looking. It's just too much to manage, and it's not the benefit is not worth the time that Discord spends. You know, like if I was getting good turnover when I would post links to Discord and like got a bump in views on my streams, it would be different. But you just really don't. I don't think E-mini reverse based on news, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to take, usually, to be honest, I have better results trading the NASDAQ, but the last couple days I've just gotten beat up in pre-market, so I'll probably just wait a little bit. It's a good system, won't allow it to lose traction. Yeah. Let me wait at the charger station for 30 minutes like I don't have better things to do. Right, but what you got to understand is most of the time you charge these things at home. Like when you buy one of these, you can buy the charger, the home charger, which is what most people do. And then they just plug it in at night in their garage, wake up the next day, unplug it and drive and have like 300 plus miles to drive it. Most people aren't going to drive more than 300 miles in a day. The only real problem where you're running into charging is when you're traveling long distances, which is a very niche problem. It's not a huge like problem that everybody's running into. The only people that really are struggling with it are people who are, traveling out of state or traveling out of city and need to drive more than 300 miles in a day, or whatever. Those are the people who are really going to have the biggest problems with the chargers. And I'm not saying there's not problems, but like, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I've never actually had one, so it doesn't matter. Right, exactly, Bruce. You can keep it for just confirm people with their phone and email so you get real users only. Yeah, for sure. All right, so look at the E-mini breakdown here this morning. So the E-mini breaking down, it's at 45.40s. It's not really a problem because the card tells you when and where you need to charge if the battery is getting low. Yeah, for sure. The reason I like them is because they mesh well with technology. But again, going back to what I was saying before, the plaid does like 9 seconds flat, quarter mile stock. That's crazy fast. Honestly, it's too fast. My daughter was all like, "Oh, I want to get a plaid," and I was, "No, absolutely not. You're not getting that thing. It's just too quick. Like 9 seconds is like a drag car. And so to have that stock, again, if you want to know why electric cars are the future, that's why. Anytime you get a new sector of anything, there's speed bumps along the way, and that's what you're seeing now with like charging. There's always going to be speed bumps. I was talking to a family member about this over the holidays, and him and I had the same conclusion, which is that electric cars are the future. It's not really arguable. They're just more efficient, right? They're just more efficient. You're always going to need lubricants, but EVs are the future. It's just what it is. They're more efficient. They're faster. They give you better mileage. They mesh better with technology. Some of them drive themselves at this point in time, and overall convenience is going to sway everything towards that in the future. But again, it's a new sector, right? So charging is a problem, and we're in the early stages of it where you got a lot of interest and not as much infrastructure with it. But over time, that infrastructure will stretch out and get bigger and bigger. And that's been true with everything, the internet, whatever sector you want to look at, that happens. Anyways. So we're in a downward trend on the NASDAQ here. We're watching it pretty steady. Again, I'm going to be less active in pre-market today, and we're just going to get ready for the opening bell. It's past 8 a.m. now. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right, Doom. I'm not. Again, maybe you're right, brother. I don't know. All right, look at the E-mini breakdown. 1.2 gigawatts. Yeah, Chart Prime nailed this one though, man. All right, again, we got CP consumer confidence data later on today. We're going to be day trading some stocks too, but at this point in time, this big breakdown is a little bit too heavy in the E-mini. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before, but like, but yeah, I've talked about this before, but like big oil runs the world, right? Like big oil runs the world. And granted, we're always going to need lubricants. I'm not disagreeing with that. But big oil obviously runs the world, right? And so if you think that they don't see EV as a threat, like these big oil companies, of course they do. Like, of course they do. They're going to put out as much, for lack of a better word, propaganda as they can against against EVs. And so a lot of people are just arguing big oil's talking points here, where, you know, one of the arguments I hear a lot is, well, oh, if the government doesn't like me, they're just gonna, you know, turn my car off and you're not going to be able to drive my car, or they're just going to make my car drive me to the police station, or whatever the argument is there. But I'm here to tell you, you don't understand cars. Like right now, cars are completely dependent on the chips in them, right? Like their cars are completely dependent on electronics. If an EMP hit, it's going to take out your gas powered car just like it's going to take out the EV. It's not like you're going to be any more protected unless you got like a pre-1970 carburetor, carburetor fuel car. It's not going to matter. You know what I mean? And so that's not a big of a selling point. I just think you have to look at EVs objectively. And I think, and again, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just talking out my butt here. And again, that's possible, I guess. But I think EVs are just simply more efficient. You know, the only question mark is mining of lithium. But I think over time, that'll probably get more efficient as well. And they'll figure out other technological pivots if they need to in those situations. Yeah, I heard a lot of people say this too, that hybrids are probably the future, and that might be true as well. Hybrids are a pretty big thing too. All right, so the judge denied ex-Binance CEO CZ from leaving the U.S. before sentencing. Man, so they're gonna get him. Yeah, so according to estimates, Pawn just sent me this. According to estimates, the average modern car has between 14 and 1,500 semiconductor chips, right? So like modern cars are already dependent on electronics. Like it's not even an arguable thing, you know. And that's like people act like cars nowadays are, still using carburetors and like they're not dependent on electronics. Like of course they are. They still are. Like I know this because we have a relatively new car. And it is completely dependent on electronics to a certain point where if we sit at a stoplight, the car turns off to save gas, is what they say. But the car turns off and runs purely, on electronics at a certain point. And I think that's a very obvious thing at this point. So I think moving from an internal combustion motor to an electric motor is not going to be as big of a jump as a lot of people think. All right, so the SEC has adopted a financial crisis-inspired rule barring traders and asset-backed securities from betting against the same assets they sell to investors. Interesting. All right, so the hedge fund Anson has built a stake in Twilio and pushes for a sale, according to the information. PG&E Corporation reinstates their dividend of 1 cent per share for the first time since 2016. Yeah, but it's 1 cent per share for PG&E, which is a gas company. This is a company in which, if we look at PCG here, this is a company in which they were, they thought this was the company that started the California wildfires a couple years ago. So if you guys remember the Cali wildfires, they thought this company started them from like an accident of some sort. You can kind of see it. This is when it went from, I think this was when it happened back in 2017, maybe in 2018. but I'm pretty sure it was back here when all of this stuff happened. I think they came out and figured out that they didn't actually do it, but this company never really came back from it. But yeah, they are reinstating a divvy of 1 cent per share. Let me see. That's not very much. Let's check NASDAQ here. Yeah, so the last time they had a divvy was 2017. Love you. Have a good day. What do you think happened to auto parts companies with a switch to EV, AutoZone, Advanced, O'Reilly's? I think, I think that's why you hear so much kickback from it. Is because a lot of people are dependent on internal combustion motors. But I think you always need lubricants. And again, I don't know for sure. I think it's going to be a long time until this ultimately happens. And again, I might be wrong. I'm not saying my opinions on this shouldn't impact whether you like me or not. You know what I mean? These are all very subjective opinions. They're very subjective things, of course, very objective or subjective viewpoints. And so, hope you guys understand. This is what I just think is the future. Now, I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it'll probably be 10 plus years until I think the turning point for it is going to be when cars start driving themselves completely, where we have robo taxis. And I think that is an inevitable part of our future. I think when you look into that, where's oil at? Speaking of all this, where's oil at? Did oil end green yesterday? No, slightly red. But yeah, I think stuff like robo taxis and complete full self-driving is going to obviously be a part of our future. I think that's going to be here within 10 years. Maybe earlier, maybe later, but I think around 10 years is probably when that's going to start. And I think when that happens, that's when we're going to really start pivoting towards most cars being EV, because I think what's going to happen is those are going to come out. People are going to figure out how useful and convenient that is. And then over time, more and more people are going to want that. And it's going to snowball into, mostly EV. I think gas power cars are going to be the lesser percentage for sure. Looking at the NASDAQ is actually testing the lows. Didn't hold over 16K, but NASDAQ is actually testing the previous low. If we pull up the NASDAQ here, starting to get a little bit of a bounce though, but if we zoom out here, you can kind of see we're right around this low that we hit earlier on the day. We'll draw it right here. So this low I think is really important. It's kind of a double bottom right here. It looks almost like a head and shoulders, like a big head and shoulders pattern. But we'll see. I'm not really interested in we'll day trade some, I guess. We'll take one trade here, short. See if we could scalp this really quick. There's already EV dirt bikes. All right, so nice little breakdown. We're up 10. What the Dow is doing. Dow looks a little bit worse to trade. All right, so we got another big pop up. We're down like 70, 80 bucks right now, so it's pretty small. If we break the top of this, we'll get out. I do want to give it a chance to fall. If it is a head and shoulders pattern, it's going to keep dropping. But I also just got some pretty bullish signs on the NASDAQ, though, actually. So, if we pull up the E-mini, E-mini's more choppy and sideways, but All right, so again, we are looking at a so the other data releases this week. The other EV releases this week are we have all right, so we got man, I'm trying to think. We got CB consumer confidence at 10 today, right? So CB consumer confidence at 10. We have tomorrow we have, man, dude, we got so many economic releases. I'm forgetting what we have. So tomorrow we have GDP, the first revision of GDP, right? It's expected at 5%. Last time it was expected at 4. Last time it came in at 4.9%, 4.9% last time. This time it's expected at 5%. We also have some Fed speakers speaking tomorrow, but GDP is the big one tomorrow for sure. Thursday, we've got jobless claims and PCE data, which is a pretty big report, right? So jobless claims, PCE, so jobless claims unemployment filings, as well as PCE, the personal consumption expenditure index, drops Thursday. Very big report. Thursday's a really big day. And then after that, we have Friday, we have ISM manufacturing and global PMI, as well as Powell speaking at both 11 a.m. and then him and Lisa Cook talking to local leaders in Atlanta at 2 p.m. Right. Also on Thursday, I forgot about this. Also on Thursday, we are scalping a position here. We've also mostly scaled out of it on the NASDAQ. Again, like I told you guys before, I gave you guys a little bit of a word regarding this one, in which I told you guys we had some pretty bullish indicators showing up, which made me get out of my short position and jump into this. And for people who say I don't use chart prime, I'm going to go ahead and cut this, right? So again, we just came all the way back from losing on the day because of one specific indicator showing up. A lot of people say I don't use chart prime, but again, you can kind of see we just went green on the day, mostly from this one specific thing. I'll show you what it is. All right, like people say I don't use chart prime, but again, you guys saw me cut a trade and then take a trade based off of this. And again, you can even see the alert show up on my chart, right? So you can see the alert show up on my chart, if this makes sense. So like, look at the alert right here. You see alert on the E-mini fired 7:20, so 3 minutes ago. What alert it was is like, okay, number one, I have two specific indicators from chart prime up on my charts right now. All right, you can take a look at them here. This is a sponsor of mine. It's custom trading view indicators, but you can see I have the Market Oracle and the Market Oracle Pro, right? Market Oracle Pro is these buy and sell signals, right? So like, Market Oracle Pro, we can just back test it really quick. So look, sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, strong sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, strong sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, sell signal drop, right? So all of these here basically worked, right? All of these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the last Market Oracle Pro. It's 9 for 9. I can't guarantee you're going to make money. I can't guarantee they're going to work. But again, I also can't fake what I'm showing you here. And these don't repaint. They don't repaint. But the one that I love to take, and this is something I've been a broken record about, is the reversal signals and an engulfing candle showing up at once. The reason I like it so much is because look at it today, right? You get a reversal and an engulfing candle show up within 4 candles of each other, which is 5-minute candles. Beautiful rip up. And then this one literally called the very top. It's best if it's right on top of each other. So you see the engulfing candle is right on top of that reversal signal. Beautiful drops here. Beautiful drops. And if I get rid of this Market Oracle Pro, which we just got the buy signal there, but like if I get rid of this, you can see we had both the reversal signal and an engulfing candle literally right on top of each other. That's the signal that it gave me to get out of my previous trade that you saw me in on the, I was in a short position. That's the signal to get out of my short position and buy. And that's what I did. And again, obviously you can see it worked out really, really well. It ended up pushing up a lot and we are now nicely green on the day from it. We have a nice little cushion on the day. I'm not saying we're going to keep getting that, but again, this is a company called Chart Prime. You can use it on any time frame here that they allow on TradingView. You can use it in stocks, crypto, forex, futures. I'm using it on the NASDAQ right here. And again, they have some pretty big Black Friday sales still going on and Cyber Monday sales. I'm pretty sure you can get the lifetime subscription for it for very cheap. You can get 40% off of the lifetime subscription if you use my promo code BF30. We'll put this up. But I think if you use some other promo codes, which I'll give you here, I'm pretty sure you can get 60% off of some stuff too. Again, they are a sponsor. I'm definitely biased, of course. Mostly, I think it was originally built for crypto, Gunny. But again, I'm not, I would test it yourself. But yeah, there's the link if you want to check it out. Great way to help support the channel. We appreciate it. But a nice little green trade. Shout out to Chart Prime because, again, a lot of people were like, oh, this dude doesn't use them. Honestly, the reality of it is I use them almost every day. You know, and again, there's some days when it works better than others, which is obvious and normal. And so what I do is I wait for the days where it's really confirming well, like today, and then I attack heavy on it. But we're starting to get a big rebound in equities. Still flat, though, in our positions on the day. Like, equities were down $10, which is pretty flat. We still got CB consumer confidence at 10. All right, so 56% of people think we're going to close green today. 44% of people think we're going to be red. What do you guys think? Red or green? Let me know in chat. Dixie's really breaking down right now. Oil, again, we've been looking at oil. It's kind of quiet. We're looking at Amazon, which has been really volatile the last few days. It's down a lot today, although it's starting to rebound some. Where's NVIDIA at right now? NVIDIA had a pretty good day yesterday. It kind of made it so that, you know, on flat days, it usually means everything's moving sideways or some big cap stocks are moving up and some are moving down. Yesterday, it looked like NVIDIA was moving up while we had some other stuff moving down. But NVIDIA, slightly green on the day so far. E-mini's still pushing up, though. You can see it on the right side here. Put the NASDAQ up here as well. We got that really obvious low here on the NASDAQ. Red. EVs are not for everybody. They're just for most people most of the time. Yeah, I mean, I heard 90% of the time they work every time, you know. Can you take a look at UPS? I don't like UPS's future moving forward. I think Amazon is going to eat their market share over time. I think we're already seeing stuff like that, and that's one of the reasons you see UPS drop from 180s down to 150s down to 130s this year. Is because I think they're losing market space to Amazon specifically. I think Amazon is becoming... Amazon, if you want to know what they're doing, the playbook has been out there for a century now. You know, if you remember Rockefeller, what Rockefeller did was Rockefeller cornered the market. He cut out the middleman and became one of the richest men in the world doing so. And he did so by specifically cutting out the middleman, right? If you look at what Amazon's doing, they're taking a page out of Rockefeller's book. They're cutting out the middleman. You know, one of the biggest problems is like shipping, having to pay for shipping on Amazon, and then having reliable shipping as well. Amazon said, okay, look, we'll just start shipping these. We'll just create our own shipping service, cut out the middleman, and do it that way. And that's what you see Amazon doing. And it's given them a huge edge in markets in which they are becoming incredibly efficient at shipping products and packages quickly. That's what you see a lot nowadays is really quick product shipments. And yeah, they're going to keep going. But yeah, Amazon's doing what Rockefeller did, and they've been doing this for the last 5 years, which is they're cutting out the middleman. They're saying, screw UPS. We're going to build our own shipping service. And they have, and it's super efficient, man. It's super efficient. The Amazon people are always nice. They like call me ahead of the time, and they're like, hey, we got your package outside. I'm like, okay, thank you. China launched the world's fastest internet with 1.2 terabit per second link, can transmit 154,000 or 154K movies per second, according to First Post. 1.2 terabit, man. I think I'm fast over here with gigabit internet connection, but terabit, man. Yeah, so again, the Department of Justice says that CZ from Binance is a flight risk, barring him from leaving the country ahead of his trial. How long did Sam Bankman-Fried go to jail for. I don't think they've sentenced him, right? All right, so he faces a maximum of 115 years in prison. How long do you think he's going to get? Why is the market so muted the past couple of days? Because it's a holiday week. It's coming out of a holiday week. We have we got some Fed members speaking today, but they're not big Fed members. Like they're not gonna wildly influence the market, in my opinion. 20 years, 10 to 15. Yeah, I think so. I think that'll probably be. I think he'll be out in about 10, and then he'll probably become like a social media guy. Kind of like Jordan Belfort, I think is what it'll turn out to in 10 years. Remember I said this. All right, so again, the Nasdaq's still moving up here. We probably could have stayed on that chart prime, signal, but we'll get back in the game like that Exxon or that Enron. Yeah, I think the craziest thing about Sam, like the craziest thing about it, really, like if you look at it objectively, the craziest part of this is that Sam was a freaking billionaire, bro. Like Sam was a billionaire, dude. Like he didn't need to do any of this stuff. Like he could have just not touched the money and let it sit and just chill, But like instead, he used the money to make a bunch of risky bets on a bunch of dumb stuff, and used customer funds to make a bunch of risky bets on a bunch of dumb stuff. Again, he could have lived, even if he let's say he wasn't a billionaire, say his true net worth was like 400 million, bro, he would never have to work again. He would be a very well-known person in the world. Like, what more do you want, Sam? Like, why? Like, again, I think Sam probably was somewhat of a gambling addict. And like when he had that much money at hand, he couldn't help himself but gamble. A lot of the time people with like OCD, they just can't help it. Like he has to do it. And I think that's what happened, is that he just kind of started it and it snowballed and he kept saying, oh, okay, we'll be fine. At the same time, though, the crypto market was kind of the Wild West at this period of time anyway. So like, I don't know. I'm not justifying it, but Sam was dumb. Yeah, probably comma. Yeah, and I think that's something that like a lot of people don't realize, bro, that these like Adderall and medications like it are basically, that. And so he can get them prescribed and, What was the plea guilty then if he's still going to jail? I mean, you plea it. Basically what a plea means is like you're not going to fight it at all. You're going to plea. You're going to basically ask for leniency in pleading. So you're not going to fight them. You're not going to make them go through the resources of fighting you in trial. You're instead going to say, "Yep, I did it. Give me mercy, please." Is what you're doing when you do a plea deal. And so that's what happened essentially. In that regard, he's looking for leniency. Instead of fighting it, but. Man, these AI softwares are getting pretty legit. Yeah, I mean, I have ADHD, right? But I'm not medicated at all. And I think y'all could probably tell to a certain extent. Like, I haven't taken medication for ADHD. Like, there was one time, NVIDIA ripping over the VWAP here, guys. NVIDIA ripping over the volume weighted average price. But no, there was one time, like years ago, where I went to see a doctor. He was like, "Yeah, you got ADHD." They put me on some medication for it. It wasn't Adderall, it was something else. And I tried it once, absolutely hated it, didn't like it at all. Never took it again. It's still somewhere here. I just don't even use it. Because again, like never saw the doctor again. Just didn't like it at all. Like I like to be stable. I like to have a stable mood, I guess is the easiest way to put it. And on those things, you just don't have a stable mood at all, you know? And I'm not saying everybody, I'm not judging anybody that does use it, but like I've been basically unmedicated for ADHD for a decade. And honestly, you can kind of use ADHD to your advantage in certain ways. Like if you're really interested in something, you can hyper focus on whatever that is. And that's a big edge. That's useful, in my opinion. Yeah, I was on Concerta as a kid, is what it was. They got to make their money. You're probably normal. I mean, I've got ADHD for sure. I pace around a lot. My son does it as well. I see my son do it too. But I'll pace around a lot, and that's okay. Like I don't necessarily see it as a disadvantage. I think it's useful in some ways. All right, guys. So the Nasdaq's finally pulling back here. Nasdaq's finally pulling back. We got less than an hour before the open. We got CB consumer confidence data at 10 a.m. We'll see if we get anything good. So Kathy Wood is juggling a crypto portfolio. She added Robinhood. She sold 5 million of this other stock, according to Benzinga. Cybertruck Thursday tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Time. Ooh, man, we're going to be ready streaming that. Or no, not tomorrow. Day after tomorrow for the Cybertruck. We're going to stream the whole event live. We got the Case-Shiller house price index. I forgot. What else do we have? Let me look at Bloomberg. Or no, let me look at Market Watch. It's a little bit better. All right. So let's see. Yeah. So today we got Barr speaking this evening. We got Lagarde speaking at 11 today. Bowman speaking at 10:45. Waller speaking at 10:05. We got the Richmond Manufacturing Index. Not really a big release. The biggest one today is CB Consumer Confidence. That's the biggest report today out of everything. Tomorrow's a pretty big day, though, in terms of like we got GDP data. Actually, tomorrow's kind of quiet. We got some other FOMC members speaking too, but it's pretty quiet. SoFi, I don't trust SoFi. A lot of people talk about it and push it, but I just don't know enough about it as a company itself. And I think mid caps are incredibly risky. You know, and again, I've said this over and over again, but like mid caps are risky because a lot of the time, like you get new investors that don't really know any better, right? Like they don't really know any better. And so they look at something like SoFi like it's Amazon or Apple. They think it's like a blue chip company because they hear all these different people pushing it and talking about it, right? But SoFi, don't get it twisted. SoFi has dropped massive percentages over the last couple of years. You know, if we look at a weekly chart, SoFi in 2021 in February was at $28. Right now it's at $7, right? So again, in the last 2.5 years, SoFi has gone from basically $30 down to under 10. You know, that's a very big percentage drop. Now, yes, this year it's up. You know, a decent percentage as well, but it's still nothing compared to how much it's down if you've been holding it for a long time. And so in that regard, I just don't like holding positions like this long term. I think they're incredibly risky. You want to day trade them or swing trade them, fine. I can swing trade some mid cap stocks. I'm just not going to hold this like it's a blue chip stock because it's not. And no matter how many people act like it is because they're stuck holding positions when at much higher prices, I just can't sell myself into it. Usually in investing, I'm buying large blue chips. Again, my portfolio right now is Apple, AMC, and forgive me for AMC. AMC is actually my most losing position right now, believe it or not. ARM, Amex, Citigroup, Chewy, Etsy, Ford, Gold, Google, Home Depot, Honeywell, Coca-Cola, MGM, Microsoft, Netflix, Nike, Oracle, Pfizer, PayPal, RTX, Snapchat, Spy, SQ, Tesla, Tyson Foods, Walgreens, Walmart, and ExxonMobil is my positions right now. Very green position as well. We're up nicely in these. Yeah, we were in Disney as well. We sold Disney a few weeks ago. And again, we sold it at like right around where we are right now. Anyway, maybe it's not. I don't know when I sold it. Let me look. But we sold it at pretty nice prices. Yeah, so we sold it at like 91s, 90s. No, about $90 actually is where we sold it. But our average price was 80s. So, I mean, we did pretty well on it. We made $10 a share. So if we missed another 4 or 5, it's all good. Not going to catch everything. In swing trading, we're not going to catch everything. NVIDIA is still pushing up at 483s. Right now, 483s. My black eye is finally starting to go away, which is good, I guess. Finally starting to go away. Yeah, I could add the volume weighted average price. There you go. Do you have a rule as to when you sell, like if it goes down a certain percentage? For my swing trades, my day trades, or which ones are you talking about? JetBlue Airlines. I mean, I don't trust it at all. Again, generally my mentality when I'm investing in different sectors is I want to play the alpha of that sector. At least I either want to play the alpha of that sector or number 2. I definitely don't want to play number 4 or 5 like JetBlue. You know what I mean? Like I definitely don't want that because the weaker ones have the biggest risk of bankruptcy. And so like if I'm investing in airlines, most of the time I'm going to invest in like United Airlines or or American Airlines or something like that. I'm probably not going to invest in JetBlue. Dixie's still breaking down, which means markets are probably pushing up more. Again, NVIDIA on the bottom side here, you can see it's just pushing up a lot. You cap, man? Regarding what? It's a very vague statement. I'm more interested in bioengineering and DNA reconstruction. Yeah, I have no idea about any of that stuff, man. And because of that, I typically avoid biotech stocks in general. Like, I'm not trying to mess with those. There's too much risky aspects of them for me to be interested. Wow, why the pump? I'm not sure. We're probably hitting some lows and then bouncing off of it from support. No such thing as too fast. So Prey, you might be a little bit behind the stream, bro. It sounds like you're talking about the plaid when I was referencing the plaid doing 9-second quarter mile stock. Yeah, man. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up in stream at home so that you're not super delayed on the stream. But yeah, I know the plaid has. The plaid has the ability that you can like limit the speed on it, but still, I think if you have access, it's kind of like the easiest way to put it, especially for my kids, right? When my kids are driving for the first time, the way you have to look at it is like this. It's kind of like a trader, right? Yesterday, we talked about why the PDT rule is absolutely freaking ridiculous. Like the PDT rule is absolutely ridiculous. Why is the PDT rule ridiculous? Because making a brand new trader that's never traded before, that's never day traded specifically before, make them trade with a $25,000+ account so that they can actively trade is a horrible idea, like a terrible idea. Like to be profitable in day trading, it really is probabilities and you have to have a big sample size. So restricting traders from day trading more than 3 times a week, unless they have over 25K. So basically, in order to actually day trade successfully, you need over 25K. Right? What new trader has any type of risk management skills? You could say, oh, hey, don't trade 25,000, just trade small. What new trader has risk management? Like if you have access to that much equity, and if you're new at trading, chances are you're going to try to use it. And that can cause big problems. And one of the most ridiculous rules is the PDT rule. When you correlate that with a Tesla Plaid, right? It's the same argument, you know. Even if you can limit the speed, or even if you can say, hey, we'll put it into a different mode, especially a new driver like a teenager, if they have access to go super fast and say they're driving with like their friend, what's to say they're not going to say, hey, you want to see something cool? Let me put it in the super fast mode. That's too much risk for my kids. I'm not going to allow my kids to do that. And so I don't want them to even have access to go in 9 seconds and a quarter mile. It's too fast, honestly. Can you confirm AI stocks other than Nvidia? Yeah, we got C3, we got Microsoft. There's a bunch of them, to be honest. You got Palantir, I believe, is an AI stock. A lot of other ones too. Gold ripping? I'm in gold. I hope it rips up. Yeah, we're almost completely flat in stocks. Yeah, so again, you can kind of see the Nasdaq's hitting the daily VWAP level here. I wonder what the difference is on like the Q versus this. It's more close to like the 200 EMA. I don't know if this is it right here or not, but right around the same spot. Some market makers just shorted the E-mini over 1,000 contracts. Sideways until Thursday's PCE data. Maybe. Thoughts on Roku? I don't like Roku as a company, investing in it at least. The reason I don't like Roku is because I think it's too replaceable of technology. Although maybe I'm wrong with this one. Again, this one's just been ripping up. This might be something in which I'm just wrong about. I don't like it long term, though, is what I mean. When I'm looking at stuff to invest in, I think Roku's risky because I think over time, companies can just build a replaceable. They can mirror the software and build it themselves, and then cut out Roku over time. And I think that's something that might happen. In which, with the rise of software and you not really needing hardware as much anymore, especially with stuff like this, I think a company that was originally mostly based around hardware, now being based around software, while it's doing okay now, I think over time it's risky because, again, I think software is replicable. And, over time, I think a lot of these companies are going to say, hey, why should we pay Roku? Why don't we just build our own software that's exactly like Roku ourselves and cut out Roku? And I think that's something that can happen. And so I just don't like investing in it long term. Although, again, on the last year, it's flown up. Although it's down pretty big. If you look at a weekly chart, as an example on Roku, on the year, it's up a lot and it looks really good. But if you look at a weekly chart, it was at almost $500 back in July of 2021. And so it's down huge percentages, like 80%. And so, yeah, it's just risky, I think. But again, maybe it's got a lot of upside potential room, but I'm not sure about it. I don't like it. I'm not going to invest in it. Very sideways on the NASDAQ recently here. If you had $1 million tomorrow, what would you put in it? What would you put it in? Not financial advice. If I had $1 million, I would probably, yeah. And again, I'm gonna preface this with I have no idea what you should do. Not an investment professional, not liable if you lose. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. With that said, though, I mean, for me, I'm trying to make it safe, right? So I'd probably buy some S&P, buy some NASDAQ, maybe buy a handful of stocks that I like, that I think are safe long term. Maybe buy a house with it, like a rental property, like a $250,000 house. Throw some renters in there. And then maybe buy bond yields with it, maybe buy some bonds with it. Right now, the 10-year is at about 4.4%. So you're going to get about $4,400 a year if you invest 100K. You're going to get about $9,000 a year if you invest 200K. So I'd probably take 250 of it, stick it in real estate, 200,000, stick it in the 10-year bonds. Maybe buy some gold, invest the rest into the S&P, the NASDAQ, and sit on it, live off the rest. But again, that's just me. Everybody's a little bit different. What would you guys do? Let me know your portfolio at home. Dude, I didn't even watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, man. I should have. I missed it this year. I should have watched it. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about how BLK is front-loading Bitcoin. I don't know, man. Again, I've talked about this a lot. If this does not go through, it's going to be a problem, right? It's going to be a problem. I think it'll probably go through, though. Bitcoin right around 40K. And I hope it goes through, of course. Bitcoin ripping up right now at almost 38,000. Just under 38K for Bitcoin. Again, it's going to be a problem if this doesn't go through, and with the SEC getting weird about Binance, it's possible it doesn't. I think it'll probably go through. I think the reason behind Binance stuff is so that BLK can be on the forefront of it when the ETF is approved, right? I don't think they want somebody else taking up market share. And so I think that's where Binance is going. That's why all the weirdness with Binance is happening, is so BLK can position themselves in a good spot. But again, if for whatever reason this does not go through, it's going to be chaos in crypto markets. Yeah, I mean, property for sure. I'd put some into crypto. But with crypto, it's one of those things where you don't even need... I'd put like 50K into Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So it doesn't even need to be... it doesn't even need to be like a huge amount. The problem with crypto, and again, I like crypto. Obviously, I hold a little bit. The problem with crypto is just incredibly volatile. So like, it can go up and down big percentages. Although it is a very widely speculated on, asset, and it has done really, really well. Problem is, most people don't have the discipline dollar cost average on anything for a long period of time, like 10 to 20 years. Yeah, 100%, right? In that regard, it's one thing I always talk about. One of the things you'll hear a lot is like, one thing you'll hear a lot is don't use a money manager, don't use a financial advisor. You could do it yourself. And it's like, yeah, that's true. You can do it yourself. If you have the discipline to not freaking touch it, which is not a majority of people. Most people are not going to have the discipline to let their money sit like that and work for them over time. It's something that big money understands very, very, very well, and that small money does not, which is that time heals a lot of wounds. Small money thinks that the market's in some never-ending state of crash where they never want to invest. They never want to let their money sit. They're always so scared of a crash so that they don't ever put their money in and let it sit like it should and appreciate over time. Big money understands it and lets their money sit long term into different things like the S&P and the Nasdaq. Um, you again, the most profound edge you'll ever get in markets is letting your money sit. But most people don't have the discipline for it, which is where a lot of people should use a financial advisor because they're gonna have the discipline over them. A lot of people, if it's at their fingertips, they can't help but mess with it. And so, in that regard, that's why like money managers can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Oh, yeah, the Case-Shiller's dropping in 3 minutes, guys. Case-Shiller House Price Index. Not really a big report, but we'll see if it moves stuff. Yesterday, we actually got a pretty significant move from new home sales coming out. And I think it's something in which we want to see weakness in real estate because weakness in real estate might mean decreasing prices, which is going to be seen as a positive right now. I think that's the nuance of it, but I might just be wrong there. Who knows what this is going to do? It might not do anything. But again, Case-Shiller dropping pretty soon in about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Dollar index just cracked down, which usually means some bullish action coming up here. But again, it could all change with the Case-Shiller. Yeah, that's rough, comma. Financial advisors are never risky enough. Yeah, but I mean, they're not supposed to be. Again, the biggest way to do it is you stick your money and you let it sit over time. You should earn about 10% a year on average if you do it right. The problem with a lot of money managers is that they don't do that. Like, they don't make enough commissions just putting money in and letting it sit. And so they end up taking it out and starting to like play with it more and more so that they can rack up commissions. When the better move is usually just to stick it in something and just let it sit long term. Maybe add some more to it over time, DCA into it over time, but that's it. And so really the best move is to develop that type of discipline for yourself and be able to just do it yourself. All right, so again, there's the Nasdaq popping up. All right, so here goes the Case-Shiller in less than a minute. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out TopStep. TopStep is a funded account program in futures. Again, I'm going to tell you this. The easiest way to get funded, in my opinion, is very simple. It's to build up a cushion first, right? If you can build up a cushion of $100 to $200, great. Then you can take larger risks. If you don't, then you're going to have a small loss on the day, and that's fine. That way, you can build up a cushion, take larger risks when you have that cushion, and you got to be incredibly disciplined for it. What TopStep does is they fund you between 50 to 150K in funding with a 90% split. If you could pass their testing, they give you a demo, they test your skill. If you could pass it, they fund you. Great way to learn day trading with less risk. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, the Nasdaq, currencies, gold, and silver. Great way to learn day trading with less risk. Although they are a sponsor of mine, I'm biased in their favor. Here's the link. You can check it out right there. Here's the Case-Shiller data. We're going to talk about the Case-Shiller data. It comes out right now. Case-Shiller data, waiting for it. Case-Shiller data just showed up. It came in at 0.6% for the month-over-month HPI. The Case-Shiller came in at 3.9%, guys. 3.9% versus 4% expected. So slightly under expected for the Case-Shiller House Price Index, which is a great sign. I mean, again, lower I think is going to be seen as a better thing. Again, we'll put this up on screen, but it came in at 3.9 versus 4% for the Case-Shiller House Price Index data. We'll put this up on screen. But yeah, again, one of the reasons TopStep is useful is because most day traders fail. I talk about this all the time. Most day traders lose money. I certainly lost money when I first got started. I lost thousands and thousands of dollars. And again, most day traders, that's going to be the very common thing that happens is that they're going to lose money. And so you can either be stubborn and desperate to look cool and put up thousands of dollars yourself and risk that, or you could try the base combine for $50. You could try the big one for like 150. And again, if you're good enough to pass it, great. You can get 50K to 150K in funding with a 90% split. So if you get funded and you make 20K, you get to keep 18 of that. 18,000. They get to keep 2 since they're funding you that money, basically 10%. And you get to keep your first 10K in profit. And there's free funding coaches, a lot of great resources. It's just useful for trading. And just taking the challenge builds your skill, in my opinion. Just taking it builds your skill. And if you lose, you're out $50 for the base one, right? Very cheap. If you're good enough to pass it, you get a lot of the rewards of putting up the money up yourself. And the patterns in futures are very similar to stocks. You can see I can buy market, buy bid, sell ask, just like day trading stocks, but there's no PDT rule. And again, I'm basically day trading the Q right here. The NASDAQ is the same price action as the Q. And so again, if you can check out the link, it's right there. You can also see the link in the description. We got 30 minutes until the market opens. And again, we got CB consumer confidence data coming out today. All right, so look at the NASDAQ start to flush down a little bit. The E-mini pushing up, Bitcoin hitting 38K and rejecting. Look at the NASDAQ dip here. It hit right at the volume weighted average price level, literally exactly at it. I guess they don't like the Case-Shiller data here. House price index just came in slightly under. Okay, so this is actually what happened, guys. Y'all want to know what happened? Micron updated their quarter one 2024 guidance. Revenue was 4.7 billion. Previously was 4.6. Okay, so maybe they increased their quarter one guidance for MU. MU should be up from this, I'm assuming, right? No, so MU is down. So this is what's affecting markets here. Again, here's the report that just came out. No, you have PDT rule with options. You have to use a cash account, though, Kevin. That's the only reason, you're still more restricted trading options. And again, options can be really volatile, really restrictive as well. Again, the good part about futures is it's free. You can you can freely trade with no red tape, essentially, where you can't do that in stocks or really options as well. But yeah, Micron updated their quarter one guidance. Revenue 4.7. Previously it was 4.6. But Micron is not reacting to this favorably here for whatever reason. Look at Micron. This is what's dragging the market really quickly. Micron is a microchip stock. It's relevant for AI, and that's probably why it's having a big influence over markets. Okay, so Micron sees a quarter one loss per share of 117. That's why they're down. So yeah, they updated their guidance. They announced it's updating its revenue, gross margin, operating expense, and EPS guidance for the first quarter. They previously guided revenue of 4.4 plus or minus 200 million and non-GAAP gross margins of 4% plus or minus 2%. They expect revenue to now be 4.7 and non-GAAP gross margins will approach break even for the first quarter of 24. They announced additional updates. Micron CEO and Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer Mike Murray will share further updates. Fireside chat, 7:35 Mountain Time, November 28th. So that is today. Yeah, we're not going to cover that, but for whatever reason, MU reacted negatively. The market's dipping down some for it. I might short this. That's a pretty big rejection, and a lot of my trading strategy involves like piggybacking off of big moves. So we got one contract. We can also add more to this if we need to. All right, so we're up another 20. Let's see if we can get flushed down here. There we go, 25, 20. There we go, 50. All right, we're just going to cut out of that. Just took $50 more in profit. So yeah, now we're up like 250 on the day or so. Nice little cushion headed into the opening bell. Does MU have enough weight to affect the NASDAQ? I'm not sure. I mean, let me see what the MU weight. Yeah, I'm looking for it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find MU. I mean, it's not a small weighted stock. That's, I think it's in the top 100 stocks, but maybe not. Yeah, so it's number 97 in the S&P 500. But the big influence, I think, is going to be over, like, okay, so this is the big influence right here, right? So MU did that. NVIDIA followed it. Right, NVIDIA is the number 4 weighted stock in the S&P 500. So like that's what's happening is that MU did that. It influenced NVIDIA and probably other microchip stocks too. Like if we look at, say, AMD, I'm sure AMD is down a little bit on this. Yeah, so AMD dipped. If we look at Microsoft, I'm sure they're dipping a little bit. So the bigger impact is going to be how it affects tech and sympathy. So MU did that. It dropped. NVIDIA followed it. Microsoft followed it. AMD followed it, and then that's dragging the Nasdaq down is the reason it's having like a much bigger impact than you might think, considering the weight is what it is. But we got a nice cushion heading into the open today. See if we can keep it up. All right, Nasdaq's starting to bounce back some, and you can kind of see MU bouncing back some as well here, but it's at the VWAP. Part of me wants to short. I also understand like we gotta just be patient, I think, here. All right, so we'll see if my short intuition was the right move. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen. Also, did y'all hear the new Tron movies coming out, bro? Personally, I love Tron Legacy, dude. I don't know why they never made another one. Tron Legacy was dope, man. I liked it. I'm surprised they didn't make another one. They should have, in all honesty. They freaking should have. Now they're talking about a new Tron movie with Jared Leto coming out. I just hope it's a sequel to Tron Legacy. They got to figure out a way to do that. I hope there's a sequel. Let me know what you guys think about that. Boeing up 50% this week. Why is Boeing up? I'm looking at it right now. Boeing upgraded by RBC to outperform sector perform, or from sector perform. A lot of analysts upgrading it. CEOs for that $40,000 dinner with the president of China. Yeah, so basically, potential business with them overseas is helping the sentiment of Boeing right now. A lot of people, a lot of hype about it. Yeah, I hope they do, Tiny. Again, I liked Tron Legacy. It was like really good. My kids really liked it as well. Like it's a movie we watched with my kids. And so I hope they do it, you know. So yeah, they're saying Tron 3 begins production next week. I hope it's Tron 3. Or I hope it's a sequel. Oh, you mean the original Tron with Tiny, or which one? Yeah, the original one was good. Hadn't aged that well, but it was still good. Gold confused. Yeah, we're watching gold, man. I hope gold moves up. Again, I'm in gold. I'm a big believer in gold. I don't know why people dislike gold. Gold is one of the best performing assets of the last 25 years. Gold has 7x, over 7x since like 2000, I think is what it is. Let me calculate this again. Gold has gone up a lot. If we look at gold, if we look back at gold, in 2000. I mean, granted, this was right around the bottom. Gold was at about 250 in 2000, about 250. You could even say 3 if you want to be, the most careful. But to go from 300 to 2000, number one, is up 566%. 566%. So it's up almost 7x at 300, which is generous. We could do 250. And again, 250, 700%. It's 7x plus. So again, gold has gone up. It's been one of the best performing assets of the last 25 years. But for whatever reason, you got some people that just hate on gold. Gold has done really, really well. Even if you look at, the last decade here. A decade ago, gold was at about 1,000. So it's basically doubled over the last 10 years. It's been sideways for the last 3 or 4, which in my opinion means we could start to get a run on the upside. I really like gold. I think gold is a good inflationary hedge over time. These are all inflation hedges, as I always talk about. Like, you have different ways to hedge inflation. If you sit on cash, you're going to lose money over time. So if you sit on cash, you're going to lose money. You got to let your money work for you a little bit. And so, real estate, inflation hedge. You buy real estate, you let it sit, you get paid in rental income maybe, and then you let the rest sit, and then you earn money over time, and thus it's an inflation hedge. It keeps up with inflation. Gold is the same thing. The S&P 500 is the same thing. They're all different inflation hedges, and each one has its use case argument over time. Some perform better than others on any given decade or period. But I like gold. Gold has been one of the better performing ones. Yeah, I like Jeff Bridges as well. I'm a big fan of the Big Lebowski, or the Great Lebowski, or the Big Lebowski. Sorry, I had it right the first time. It's just like your opinion, man. Gold. Speaking of gold, gold's breaking highs right now. We're actually we've been holding gold for the last 6 months to a year, and we're still kind of flat on it, but that's okay. It's been kind of sideways for 3 or 4 years. I think when it starts to push. John, has it reached 2025? Gold right now? Gold futures are at 20,000 or 2044 right now. So gold is ripping up this morning too. You can't eat gold? Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's very true. What a fact. I mean, you could. I mean, I don't know how well it's going to go. All right, guys, 15 minutes, and then we got CB consumer confidence data tomorrow. Or no, at 10 a.m. today. In 30 minutes, basically, or in 45 minutes, we got CB consumer confidence. All right, so we're getting a dip on the NASDAQ still. Oh, I forgot about the gold chicken wings that I've seen too. I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a huge waste of money. Gold pushing up though, breaking highs again today right now. So gold just broke highs. The lifetime high of gold is 20,000 or 89. So just under 2,100 is gold's lifetime high. The last time it got close to that was in March of this year. Prior to that, it was in February of 2022. It hit that high back in August of 2020. So it's been 3 years since we put in this high of $20,089. We are at $20,045. So gold is starting to creep up towards it. Bank weakness might signal this, guys. So bank weakness might make gold move up. Again, people tend to hedge with gold during times of financial worry. And so like one of the things you see, and you can also correlate gold with like crypto, but in March, whenever we had the banking crisis go on, something that you saw a lot in March was you saw banks struggle because of all these rate hikes that we've had and a lot of bank problems, and a bank run happened. A lot of regional banks failed earlier this year. When that happened, a lot of money gravitated towards cryptocurrencies, right? So a lot of money gravitated towards cryptocurrencies. You also see gold here. Like, let me see if it'll let me pull it up on this chart. So you also see gold here started to test highs because, again, as markets struggle, banks specifically, as banks struggle, people hedge with gold, which is why you see a test of highs during the last time this happened. You know, it's another reason you might want to pay attention to banks as well, because banks can and do have an influence over gold and everything else really in markets. So it's something to watch. It's something to pay attention to. All right, team. Hey, we got 12 minutes here. 12 minutes. We got about 400 people still here. So hey, we appreciate you guys joining the stream. All right, so look at gold. Still moving up. We'll see if we hold this level here. Again, gold's popping up. That's one to watch today. Again, tech is still moving. Let me look at it. Like, there's Microsoft. Here's NVIDIA down here. So NVIDIA at 482.60s, 482.60s. NASDAQ still breaking down a little bit. Very sideways open, though. I have March short calls on the queue. Maybe, Gene. I'm not sure. I mean, it's possible, of course. Not sure, though. I hope not. I hope you're wrong, but you know, you might be right. Who knows? All right, guys. Hey, we got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I kind of want to short this right here on the queue. And my short thesis did work. I should have gone with my intuition there. All right, so BCA Research, who provides some data for Market Watch, said, quote, "We do not expect any further rate hikes in the U.S. over the coming year unless inflation significantly picks up. However, investors are pricing in too much easing before a recession arrives and too little once it does," according to BCA strategists. They said, quote, "Stocks are likely to significantly decline in response to a recession, leaving, end quote." Again, who knows if we're right, though. Again, the problem, though, with banking is that, and again, maybe they're right. I'm not saying they're wrong. The problem with this is that they've been wrong a lot over the last year. You know, they said this a year ago, and if we look at the SPY a year ago, right, so a lot of people were saying this down here, about a year ago when the S&P and the SPY, where the SPY was at 360s, 350s, 340s for a little bit, a lot of people were saying the same thing back then. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that we should take that as pure truth. And I think that's the mistake a lot of retail investors make. I know a lot of retail investors that get like these expert newsletters sent to them and they look at what the experts say. I truly think in trading like this, especially short term, you can't always listen to them. All right. A lot of them work for banking. A lot of them have their own agendas, their own interests at heart. I think that the reality of it is short term, nobody knows what could happen. I do agree with this that we're not probably going to get any more rate hikes anytime soon unless inflation gets much worse. I think we've already had a lot of rate hikes. And I think the biggest risks on markets right now is that, we've raised rates really aggressively over the last year and a half, last 2 years, really. Those rate hikes have about a year lag effect. So they take about a year to really start influencing the market. And so, a year ago, we were raising rates pretty aggressively. And so I think if there's an argument for weakness, what could happen is that the banks are the ones that are the most negatively affected from those rate hikes. What we could see is the banks start to dive on that. And if they do, that could trickle into everything else and cause market weakness. I'm not saying that does happen, but I'm saying that's the argument that I see regarding all this stuff. And again, let me know what you guys think. But again, it's never a for sure thing. Like the biggest mistake a lot of other retail traders make is they act like it has to happen. They act like the data means this has to happen. And that's not true at all. Like if you watch the market long enough and you don't purely rely on experts and newsletters, you understand that nobody freaking knows. Nobody knows. Everybody's wildly wrong a lot of the time. And it's something that you just have to be weary of and understand. Like, look, you can make probability bets on different probabilities and stuff like that, but it's not ever something in which you can bet purely on 100% accuracy. It's just not like that. The market's never like that. We got 7 minutes, guys, 7 minutes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are two different VWAPs showing up. Yeah. So these are just two different VWAPs showing up. I'm not sure why they're two. I'm just kind of looking at them like a big level, like one big level. You can see Nvidia start to creep up, but it's a very flat day in markets overall. We'll see what consumer confidence says today at 10. I rely on you. Don't. I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, I've been pretty right though. Again, one of the things, like what's crazy about the haters sometimes is that if you look at what I predict or what I think is going to happen, I've been pretty accurate. Again, a year ago when everybody was telling the market's going to crash, I told people that I didn't think we were going to. I told people that I already thought we were down a lot and that the market was not going to go down forever. And again, I told people this here. And then sure enough, what happens? We rebound back up. And throughout this whole period, everybody's like, oh, the market's going to crash. The market's going to crash. I've been pretty accurate there. I told people I thought Disney was cheap at $80 a share, $85 a share. And now Disney's up to almost 100. I told people when I was buying the dip in banking. And so I think I've been pretty accurate. But again, maybe that's just my own ego. That's possible too. I don't want people to copy off of me, though. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Also on coin. I mean, obviously, I think Coinbase is going to do well if an ETF gets approved. Obviously, if it doesn't get approved, Coinbase is not going to do well. I think a lot of this is just waiting for two things: the Bitcoin halving and halving, whatever you want to call it, and the ETF approval that's supposed to be approved before January. So we got like a month, and we got like a month and a half right now for that ETF approval. Again, if it doesn't happen by then, I think we're going to see noticeable drops in markets, and that's something that you really want to be wary of as well. If it doesn't happen by January 10th, that's going to be a sign of weakness in crypto. And again, I'm not sure what we're going to get. I think it could go either way. The thing that makes me skeptical, and I hope it gets approved, I truly do, but the problem and what makes me skeptical is that I see companies manipulating people right now. I see a lot of nonsense getting posted on social media about how, you'll see posts like rumor Bitcoin ETF is going to be approved within 24 hours. Wow, the Bitcoin ETF is going to be, I know from inside sources, the Bitcoin ETF is going to get approved within 24 hours. And so you see Bitcoin make a noticeable run up. And these are mostly people that are just pushing this to pump it up really quick. So they're front loading, putting out these rumors, and then selling at the top and leaving all the other traders who are optimistic that it's going to get approved in 24 hours, kind of sitting there getting crashed on. I see that a lot, which makes you kind of realize how much manipulation is going on regarding this Bitcoin ETF approval. And again, it's one of the reasons I keep saying if it doesn't get approved, it's going to be really bad. But the halving could protect it a little bit more. There's a lot of nuance there, but I would just be careful. Especially Coinbase is up a lot right now, so it's a little bit too high for my tastes here. Being at 120s when, less than a year ago was at 31. obviously is kind of risky, but I'm a big believer in Bitcoin and crypto, and I think they're going to be fine long term. I just think short term there might be some risks. The Nostradamus of trading. Nostradamus, I guess. Yeah, we got the opening bell in 3 minutes, guys. Yeah, and again, the rest of this week, today's pretty slow as well, but the rest of this week is actually really, really busy. We got CB consumer confidence in about 35 minutes or so. We have tomorrow we have GDP data. Thursday we got jobless claims, PCE data, Tesla delivery day event, and then Friday we have manufacturing and services PMI, I think, is on Friday. Let me see. And then also Powell speaking at 11. And then next week we've got non-farm payrolls and unemployment data. So very busy week, and next week will be busy as well. Yeah, so again, we got GDP coming in tomorrow at 4.9% is the expected first revision of GDP. 4.9% is what they're expecting. Got a lot of Fed members speaking today as well. That might have a big influence over markets. Just be careful. And then again, Thursday, we got PCE, jobless claims numbers, Canadian GDP, some FOMC members speaking, Chicago PMI, and pending home sales at 10. And then we also have the Tesla delivery event. And then Friday, it is manufacturing PMI data at 9:45. ISM manufacturing PMI at 10 tomorrow. Powell speaking at 11 on Friday. So yeah, just a lot of stuff. It's pretty sideways market though, in all honesty. Pretty neutral, pretty flat. Yeah, we'll probably stream the Cybertruck event. It just tends to be profitable just trade when news actually comes out. So why not do just that? Because that's a very subjective thing. You know what I mean? Like, some traders are going to do better when news comes out. Some traders are going to do worse. When news drops, it's incredibly volatile. And so trying to predict what the news is going to do or trying to front load into a potential reaction, like an MU, the MU stock today is a great example of this. Like, news came out of MU about them adjusting their guidance to a more profitable revenue expectation than expected, I think is what it was, right? And so when you hear that, you might think MU is going to go up. MU actually dropped $3 a share on this news. So again, the reality of these news releases, as well as like economic reports, as well as like all this different stuff, is it's not that easy to predict. You might think it's a very binary thing where good news causes a good reaction and bad news causes a bad reaction. But the reality is nobody freaking knows what the stock is going to do, because a lot of these moves are already baked into it over the previous few weeks, right? And so profit taking might happen when this good news comes out by traders and investors. And so it's very difficult to predict what we're going to get. And I think that's why trying to predict news is very risky. You can try to react to news, but that's risky as well. And it's something in which I don't know if I like that trading strategy. Yeah, maybe Gene. Yeah, again, maybe Gene. Maybe not, though. Again, you got to understand, I've seen a lot of people make these type of predictions. Here's the opening bell. There's the open, guys. Market is open. I've seen a lot of people make these type of predictions over the last year or two. And again, a lot of them have been wrong. And so I'm fine with people making predictions. It's all good as long as you don't shame people who have the opposing prediction or the opposing view, or get really definitive and pressuring, telling people to sell now, do it now. Like, I don't like definitive statements. It's possible that does happen, but there's also the possibility that it doesn't. And so as long as you understand that, it's all good. All right, so NASDAQ popped up to the VWAP. NVIDIA is actually dipping down a little bit at the opening bell. We got the SPY moving up. It's at 454s right now, 454s. NVIDIA at the opening candle so far has had like what, 15, 16,000 shares traded, give or take. Big rejection back down. I'm shorting this, and it looks like it's a really bad short. This thing just ripped up in my face. Yeah, we're going to close it out. Lost a little bit just there, but we still got a pretty big cushion on the day. Too early. I'm going to wait now. All right, Tesla ripped up, and now it's retracing all the way back down, but the NASDAQ is still flying up here. Look at NVIDIA rip up, so maybe this is NVIDIA's sentiment. NVIDIA is basically pulling a red to green, opening 2 candles here. SPY still trying to move up some as well. Where's Amazon at? Amazon ripped up a little bit. Tesla might be dragging the market down, though. I'm going to short now again. It might be a little risky, but we do have a cushion. Tesla just broke down under the previous closing price. NVIDIA is starting to flush. Luckily, we got a cushion on the day now that we can play with, but we're getting ready to cut this too. Luckily, we're pretty flat on the day now, even though we just lost. Maybe the E-mini will do me better. Again, Tesla started to break down and then it bounced back. It might be choppy ahead of the CB consumer confidence data too, though. All right, Tesla actually bounced all the way back up, though. All right, a lot of big upwicks now. A lot of selling pressure. Really strange. Man, these candles are no joke. Yeah, a lot of upwicks. I got to take my hands off a little bit right now and just chill. Because just big upward, up and down price action right now. Just big upward and downward movement. Like, if you look at the NASDAQ here, too, it's not much better, you know? So, like, the NASDAQ here is... The big level in the NASDAQ right now, at least, is right around... 16K. Right, so if you look at the NASDAQ at 16K, look at Amazon start to rip too. So there's 16K. So look at it hitting 16K right there. And that's a big level too. I'm green in my equities portfolio on the day, though. All right, so we're going to take one short here. I see a lot of stuff flushing down. Definitely a risky short. There we go. 50, 90. We're going to cover that. We made about 70, I think, just now. So once we broke under that 16K level, I thought that might be a good short. Yeah, the market's been pretty quiet this week. It really has. It hasn't really been. Yesterday was very choppy and sideways. I think with the reports that we have coming out this week and next week, it's been very choppy. Look at NVIDIA. Look at the SPY. Tesla is still ripping up, though. Look at Tesla. Tesla up there. Again, they have delivery events happening in a couple days. That might influence Tesla a lot. People might just be kind of front-loading. I'm not sure why the days are so choppy right now. I think mix of holiday week. I think it's a mix of holiday week mixed with like a lot of economic reports coming out this week and next week. Again, this week alone, we have GDP tomorrow, PCE Thursday, jobless claims Thursday, manufacturing PMI Friday, Powell speaking at 11 Friday. Next week, we have unemployment, non-farm employment change, non-farm payroll data. Earning season is also over with right now. So like earning season is essentially done. We still have some small earnings that drop. But basically, earnings season gives a lot of volatility to markets. And right now, we don't really have that much volatility in markets because earnings season is essentially done. Yeah, it might be Southern News for the Tesla event. I'm not sure. Again, we're going to stream it. We'll see. All right, we're bouncing right at this level here that we talked about. So you can see we drew this level a minute ago. And we're bouncing right off of it so far. Let's see if we hold. I see a lot of weakness coming in, though. I don't really trust this. All right, so we're short. Hopefully I don't get punished here. Flat. Now we're green, 30. We're going to go ahead and cover that, make a little bit more. So my short was correct. I see a lot of this stuff turning. Like, you can kind of see all of it, right? So you can get a little bit of a head start on it by, where did my pen go? Oh, there it is. You can get a little bit of a head start when you see like all these different things start to turn here. Like you can see all of them start to kind of turn the other way. That's a big down wick. I'm going to buy this, but it's also risky. Because sometimes we'll do these wicks and then we'll come right back up. But we're also under that big support level. We'll give it a second. Right back up. I like the down wicks here. We're going to add a little bit more to this since we have a cushion. Not easy to trade. There's just a lot of chop. We're right at the VWAP, though. I want to see if we bounce a little bit there, too, if the chop continues. All right, we're flat. I'm going to take one of these candles off. I just don't trust it enough, and it's taking too long. So even though we might lose a little bit, it'll protect the trade some. We'll be a lot more loose on the rest of this. Just got to kind of limit the chop a little bit, I think, like protect the trade in a choppy market. That way, if it continues to dump down, we're not going to take some huge loss. It'll be pretty small. Still flat on the rest of this, though. Views on Walgreens. I'm holding Walgreens. All right, so there's a fun. We finally got a little pop up, but again, we're so choppy right now. We're starting to get a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and cover that now. We're starting to get really flat. Tesla's still doing really nicely too, leading up to that delivery event. Yeah, I don't know enough about PDD. Yeah, ICCM's just a penny stock. I just don't really mess with them anymore. We're scalping a little bit more here. And the regular E-mini. Up a little bit now. But still pretty choppy and sideways. Again, we're day trading on a funded account program called Top Step. It's a futures funded program, so they give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can pass the test, they fund you the same amount as the demo. So the base one's $50K. So if you pass the testing, you got to make $3K in profit without losing $2K in futures. 2 to 3 ratio, pretty reasonable. If you can do that, they fund you 50K with a 90% split. There's free funding coaches, tons of great resources. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this here. Yeah, free funding coaches, tons of great resources. There's no PDT in futures, which is why most day traders that are pro day trade futures, because there's better liquidity in futures. There's no PDT rule, and I can essentially day trade the SPY, which looks very similar to like NVIDIA. Patterns are very similar to blue chip stocks. There's just no PDT rule in futures. So I can day trade short. You can see I can buy market, sell market, all that good stuff. Very similar to day trading stocks, but just no PDT rule. And Top Step's the most legit funded program in the world. They give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can pass their test, they fund you. They've been around for over a decade. They pay out millions every year in actual withdrawals. They fund thousands of traders a year. You can check them out. Here's the link. PDD acquired Timu. Yeah, we're very choppy on the NASDAQ, which is the more volatile futures trade in index fund futures. So it's a very quiet market right now. It's just kind of boring. Very quiet market. I guess the whole market might be waiting for the consumer confidence data, but it's not really a huge release like that. But like, look at all this chop right here. So again, I'm not trading this right now. This sucks. This is boring. All right, finally getting a breakdown here. A lot of weakness showing up now. Tesla breaking under the level, so maybe we'll get some momentum at least. We'll look for a little bounce up and then maybe short that. There we go. Big enough bounce. 35. We got a cushion on the day, so we can add more if we pull up to use this VWAP as a reward level or a risk level. All right, there we go. 50. I'd like to see it break down some more though, and add maybe if it pop up a little bit more here. No, won't need to. I just made about $130 there. That's nice. So we caught the short. A lot of profitable trading is just waiting. And so in that situation, we just waited for the range to finally break out of that choppy behavior and then attack that. And it seemed to work. We got 15 minutes before CB consumer confidence. Big flush breakdown though. I'm going to short this again. Same concept where we got a big down wick, and a lot of the time these down wicks fill. There we go. There we go. I'm going to add to this one now. Hopefully it doesn't punish me for it. I like the breakdown. It's definitely a bearish pattern. But if it moves up, then we're basically confirming chop. And we might just want to wait until CB drops. Again, we have a cushion on the day, so we can trade a little bit easier with it. But big pop up in the SPY too. I'm not sure what happened. We're right at the VWAP though, which is good. There we go. I like the big up wicks. That usually means some type of bearish action showing up, but you never know. There we go. I'm going to take one of these off and just protect the trade a little bit so I'm not taking crazy big risks here. Probably took a little bit too large of size for my taste. Just moving a little bit too much. Still green on the day. But I want to give it time to break down, and we'll make enough on the breakdown if it does, like we are, which is good. But if it doesn't break down, then we're going to protect ourselves from like a huge loss. Got to be patient here, I think. We're watching NVIDIA closely, too. Well, I want to let it test the VWAP, but I'm probably going to have to cut this soon. The problem is the SPY starting to rip up. I want to see if it holds over the VWAP, though. All right, so that's a big rejection, but where's Tesla at now? We got to watch Tesla, too. Tesla's testing the VWAP, is starting to come back down. Again, we had a cushion prior to this trade on the day, so like we're still fine, but the problem is that the SPY and the S&P started to rip up. I'm trying to see what stock is causing it. We're very close to cutting it, though. If it just keeps rejecting that VWAP level. All right, NVIDIA just broke lows. Starting to flush down. That might help it. All right, we're close to flat on the day with this loss now. Amazon's breaking down too. I wonder why the NASDAQ's not following suit. What's going up in the NASDAQ? What stocks are moving up in the NASDAQ here? Let me see. We got Walmart. Walmart's pushing up. What about healthcare? Healthcare is pretty sideways. Oil. Oil's moving up. My headphones are going out. Bear with me, guys. Hold on. All right, we're probably about to cut this. It's just weird. NVIDIA's breaking down. We got to get out of that now. Didn't mean to add twice the share size to it. It's the second time I've done that in 2 days. There we go. All right, we're down like $300. It could be worse on the day, but luckily we had a cushion leading into that. It's just weird, like the SPY is moving up while NVIDIA's cracking down. Amazon's breaking down, like two really heavily weighted stocks. I guess it depends on what Apple is doing, and Apple was breaking down too. And so I think it's probably just a choppy day. It's probably not the best day for me to keep trading. We got CB consumer confidence data at 11. We might be choppy ahead of CB consumer confidence data. There's no delay on my charts. I'm trading futures. You might be delayed on the stream. Hit the live button next to the play button. You'll probably catch back up. That might be it. Is Microsoft pulling the market up? Microsoft's a very heavily weighted stock. That's the one stock I wasn't watching. I'm in Microsoft right now, which is great. And I'm actually green in my equities portfolio as well. But I think I might have just been a little bit late on what this was. So I think I'm just late. Yeah, so I think I was just late. I had the right idea. We would have made money on it, but I got to use my risk management. Every day is not going to be green, though. CB consumer confidence is supposed to be in 9 minutes. Yeah, we're going to cover it. It's in 9 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna stream it. Coinbase isn't really going to have much of an influence over the market itself. It'll have some, but it's not going to have as big of an influence as like Microsoft or like Apple, I guess is a better way to say it. It's big, but it's not that big, like the influence. All right, guys, we got like 7 minutes. Yeah, we're shorting the E-mini right now. We're catching the other move here. You can kind of see. We're going to cover that. So we're not down as much as we were. I mean, we are down right now, $170 on the day. So it could be worse. We got a little bounce back here in the NASDAQ. Problem is, we're just really choppy. Markets are starting to reverse as well, which probably means Microsoft is still up. See what's reversing. Gold is up a lot. Google's reversing down some today. Also, Walgreens. I'm using Top Step, Jonah. So I'm using a funded account program at Futures. We're funded in 2 different accounts. But we got a bunch of other accounts too, to be honest. But I'm using Quant Tower on Top Step. You can see the link right there if you're interested in checking it out. Again, we got CB consumer confidence data in about 6 minutes. So y'all stick around. This might influence the market in a more heavy way. We'll see if we can go green, if we can get some good trades in on the E-mini. E-mini's doing basically the same thing. I usually like trading the NASDAQ a little bit better, though. I know we roll over sometime soon as well. Can't remember when we roll over. I have to check. But the market's had 4 green weeks in a row. So again, if I had to pick, I'm going to bet that the market's going to have a red week this week. Even though we do have some economic stuff coming out. We'll see. All right, CB consumer confidence data dropping in about 5 minutes. All right, we're shorting again. All right, so we're pretty much flat on the day now. We're down 18. We're down $25. So we can go green, but again, CB consumer confidence data should impact us in some significant way. I'm not sure how much or how significant, but we should have some movement. All right, so we're now actually slightly green. We got into another NASDAQ trade. Kind of had to fight my way back from being in the hole today, but thus is life. You can see my chart today. We're up $5 now. We actually have a positive win to loss ratio, but again, I try to build up a cushion, and I think today my mistake was that I built up a cushion and then took a little bit too large of risk when I did relative to like my account profit. I took too much of a cushion into that. So all right, we got 5 minutes, team. 5 minutes. I'm using Quant Tower here, Jonah, but when I trade futures, it's mostly through a prop firm. Yeah, there's no 5-minute delay, Corey, on YouTube, brother. Yeah, there's no 5-minute delay on YouTube, bro. The delay on YouTube might be like 5 seconds, not 5 minutes. And so if it's 5 minutes, it's on your end, brother. Uh, Yeah, please stop spamming, man. All right, so we're actually scalping a little bit more on the Nasdaq, starting to find our rhythm a little bit more. You can see we're up about 110. We're gonna take a little bit more off there, riding this down some. Made another 70 here, so we're now back up about 170 on the day. Took a couple contracts there on the Nasdaq, but a little bit better now. Shorting into that breakdown weakness here. We got 3 minutes here, team. 3 minutes. Yes, Brian. I trade the E-mini and the Nasdaq both. Yeah, it's definitely not 5 minutes, Justin. But any YouTuber is gonna have lag. There's never none of them are gonna be real time. All right, we're gonna short this again in the Nasdaq here. We got a much larger cushion now. I just want to see if we magnet back down to that low to test it. We are green on the day though, so that's good. But the cushion's not big enough to be comfortable, I would say. All right, we got 3 minutes, team, until CB consumer confidence. I like that upwick. All right, we're now slightly green. The upwick is usually good. It means selling pressure coming in, but with the 1 minute chart, it doesn't really matter too much because you never know if it's going to hold or not. There we go. 55. Yeah, a lot of chop ahead of CB consumer confidence drops in 2 minutes here, team. So we're also going to throw it in sub only mode ahead of this. So if you have not already, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Everybody announce yourself if you're supportive and subscribed. We appreciate it. If you're not, subscribe now. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut this. I'm gonna cut it right there, even though it might reject. We're gonna get out very small on the rest. Still up 130 bucks. Um, it's 10 a.m. Eastern time option is when it drops. It drops in a minute and a half. Yeah, I mean everything's completely free here. We don't charge for any content. For the big reports, we get thousands here because we cover it very quickly. CB consumer confidence is not really a big report to put it into perspective. Also, I'm pretty flat in everything now in futures because this report might influence the market. But again, we'll see. Data drops in about 45 seconds, team. 45 seconds. All right, here we go. Here's the report 40 seconds, 15 seconds. All right, so here's the report. Let's see what it showed up as. All right, 102 versus 101. Higher consumer confidence than expected. 102 versus 101. And again, subscribe. We covered this very quickly. We covered that immediately. Literally 102 versus 101 expected. Higher than expected CB consumer confidence data. The Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index came in at 1. Last time it showed up as minus 11. But again, CB consumer confidence came in at 102 versus 101 expected. Higher than expected CB consumer confidence. And the market's actually popping up a little bit from this here. Again, 101 or 102 versus 101 expected. We'll put it up on screen. We cover it here first. You're welcome. We cover this very quickly. Okay. Hold on. A report just dropped, baby, at 10 a.m. All right. So yeah, guys, it came in at 102 versus 101 expected. Um, So yeah, so CB consumer confidence data, guys, came in at 102 versus 101 expected. It's starting to bounce up a little bit. CB affects the market in which it just gauges consumer confidence and interest. Here is all it really is.
What other information do you need to be able to, for me to be able to manage the account?
All right, guys, sorry. My wife's coming at me talking about some type of easy tag stuff on the phone, trying to get me to give like personal data. So sorry guys. I gotta make sure it's muted and then but yeah, I'm here. Hopefully you guys are green today. CB consumer confidence data. I would just, one thing I'll say, guys, be very careful. Market is super sideways right now, super choppy, super boring, not really doing anything really easy or favorable right now. I would say very boring market. The only thing we might try to trade, Apple is surging up a lot right now, though. Is the only other kind of good part of the market right now is Apple's starting to make some upward movements here. And so, yeah, we'll see if that bullish action continues for Apple. All right, so we took a swing, and now we're trying to scale out of this. Attacking the chop really is what we are doing here. We got 2 contracts to the NASDAQ. If we reject here, great. Let's see if we can. I'm not going to hold it past this, though, so we took half of it off. I think we still ended green from that. Or no, we're about flat from it. The only other thing we might do, the only problem is like Apple surging up. I'm going to short this again up here, though. So we're going to start trying to attack this range. But it might be kind of a flat day. I'm going to get out here. So yeah, now we're slightly down. We are down $15 today. This is my graph. Very choppy day. I'm not sure if today's the right day to trade. Very flat, very choppy action. Apple looks like it's trying to head up, but like Apple's the #1 weighted stock in the S&P. So again, you can maybe take some swings and some combine accounts if you want to try to get funded today, like I've been doing. But it's also a day in which the volatility is very, very light. All right, we're getting another little scalp here. Hold on. All right, so we're out. All right. Again, like I said, you can take some swings and some combine accounts. I'm up 260 on the day now, going back and forth, but I would just be careful, guys. A very sideways day, very neutral day. It's an Apple day. Yeah, Apple's trying to curb up. You can kind of see Apple try to move up here. Again, who knows if it will or not. With that said, though, guys, if you want to try to be like me, I'm trading on a funded account program called Top Step. It's a funded program in futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can hit the target on the demo without hitting the max loss, they fund you between 50K up to 150K with a 90% split. There's no PDT in futures, which is what a lot of people want, and that's why a lot of people trade futures. A lot of people don't realize you can get around the PDT rule in futures. You can day trade index funds like the SPY, like the Q, essentially in futures with what's called the NASDAQ E-mini. You could trade the here. Look, we're shorting another trade here. We're in one contract, writing it down. We're gonna go ahead and cover that. Now we're up about 500 on the day, attacking this chop. But yeah, you can kind of see my graph here. But yeah, you can get around the PDT rule by trading index funds. Check out the link in the description. No, you can use whatever strategy you want, Nancy. I'm pretty sure. I would reach out with them, but pretty sure you can use whatever trading strategy you want. Another thing that's been helping me today, guys, that I probably should be using a lot more is Chart Prime. Chart Prime is a trading view indicator service that you can use in stocks, crypto, forex, futures. Again, just back tested today. I love using this one right here. This one's called the Market Oracle. Well, what I always specifically look for is an engulfing candle and a reversal signal that shows up right at the same point. Like, look at every time this happens. Beautiful move up, beautiful down move today, beautiful upward move. It's not going to work every time. I can't guarantee it's always going to work. Nice little downward move there as well. So it's been 4 for 4 today. But again, I can't guarantee you're going to make money with this. Nobody can. But this is the regular market oracle. It's just kind of powerful. Look at it here too. Reversal up, reversal down. Engulfing candles that you can get on Chart Prime also are really nice top indicators. Like look at this, called the very top. Look at this engulfing candle, literally called the bottom. Look at this candlestick called the bottom. Look at this engulfing candle down here called the bottom. This engulfing candle called the top. It can be really powerful trading strategy as well. And this is just a small piece. The other one that I used today, again, what initially built the cushion up is when this one showed up. The more indicators, the more candlesticks that show up with reversal signals, the better. And you can see that here. The other one that I've been using today is the regular market oracle. So if I put up the regular market oracle pro, this is a different one. This one gives buy and sell signals. And then again, and the really nice part about Chart Prime is like right now you can get a lifetime subscription, I believe for $9.99 if you use promo code BF30. Like look at how accurate this is today. All right, just today alone, right? Like we can look at this, and this is actually into yesterday, but that's all right. Sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, strong sell signal, really nice drop, buy signal bounce, strong sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, sell signal drop, buy signal bounce, sell signal drop, buy signal bounce. This sell signal maybe didn't work, but the rest of these did today, or at least what it looks like. I can't guarantee you're going to make money. Nobody can, but that looks pretty legit. Honestly, that looks pretty legit. And there's so much stuff that you can use, again, in futures, stocks, crypto, forex, whatever you want to trade in futures, crypto. You can use any time frame. Like here's an hourly chart. And again, you'll start to see like flag patterns and all these different stuff that shows up on the chart like this. There's just a ton of stuff. The cool thing is like their back tester. So I can go to their back tester and see what's working on any given day. So I can put up their back tester and see what's working on any given day. Anything over 50% is considered good, I would say. And so you can put the back tester up, see what's working. You can also put up the screener and see what's working as well. And you can only get the back tester and the screener, I think, if you have the lifetime subscription. But again, if you want to check it out, you can use promo code BF30, get some percentages off still, I believe, for their Cyber Monday deal. Again, you can try it out right here. But again, regardless of it, it's like $50 a month. Pretty cheap. Check out the link right there. Y'all be safe. I'm going to get out of here. Good luck. Again, here's their back tester, right? So you can see right now I can mess with this back tester and say, hey, I want to check both strong buys and regular buys and then use a dynamic sell signal. And we can see what it shows up at. That's the one where I have the best results using both buy and sell signals, as you guys show me, as I showed you. I mean, and then the sell signal is a little bit more dynamic. We got to refresh this. So hold on, let me refresh it. And we'll put that up again. Both dynamic sell. Let it work. And it'll actually test these today to show you what has the biggest edge. You know, right now, again, candlesticks is what it basically saying has the biggest edge right now. So previously, I think it was candlestick buy signals had a pretty big edge. You know, P&L would be at 5%. PF would be at 1.2%. Win rate's going to be over 50. But again, pretty useful and overall really nice to check out. If you want to check it out, there's the link. Love you all. Be back tomorrow. GDP data drops tomorrow, guys. We have GDP data dropping tomorrow. And so again, y'all be safe. Y'all be good. I'll see you guys later. Good luck.